This video explains how to configure external web authentication using a Cisco Wireless Controller or Cisco WLC. Note that external web authentication directs a user to a login page that is hosted on a web server that is external to Cisco WLC. To configure external web authentication, the following components are required: a Cisco WLC configured for basic operation, a lightweight access point, a wireless adapter, a switch to connect Cisco WLC to the lightweight access point, access to a radius or an LDAP server as required, and an external web authentication server. This is the network setup for external web authentication. To configure external web authentication on Cisco WLC, ensure that the prerequisites are met. The prerequisites are a Cisco WLC configured for basic operation, a DHCP server, a DNS server, internet access, lightweight access points registered with Cisco WLC, an external web authentication server with a login page hosted, a virtual interface configured with a non-routable IP address, and a WLAN client with an HTML browser with JavaScript enabled. In order to verify whether a virtual interface is configured, do the following. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the Controller tab. In the left navigation pane, click Interfaces. In the Interfaces page, ensure that an interface named Virtual exists and is configured with a non-routable IP address. Click the interface named Virtual. In the Interfaces Edit page, verify whether a value has been configured for the DNS hostname field. This is to ensure that the same DNS hostname value is configured on DNS servers used by clients. This video configures the displayed values on Cisco WLC. Note that the values shown here are for representational purposes only. To configure external web authentication, perform the following tasks. Create a Preauthentication ACL. Create a VLAN interface. Configure Cisco WLC for external authentication. Configure a WLAN instance, associate it with a VLAN interface, and configure security policies. Configure a database for authentication. Configure a WLAN client. Connect a WLAN client to the network and verify the configuration. And monitor your clients on Cisco WLC. This video shows you how to create a pre-authentication access control list. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the Security tab. In the left navigation pane, click Access Control Lists and then Access Control Lists. In the Access Control Lists window that is displayed, click New in the top right corner. In the Access Control List New window, enter a name in the Access Control List's name field. Select the ACL type and click Apply. In the Access Control Lists window that is displayed, click the name of the newly created Access Control List. In the Access Control Lists Edit window that is displayed, click Add New Rule in the top right corner. Define the access control list rules that will allow clients to access an external web server. The first rule is a permit rule in the outbound direction for TCP packets with the source IP address of the external web server. Click Apply. The second rule is a permit rule in the inbound direction for TCP packets with the destination IP address of the external web server. click Apply. This completes the creation of the pre-authentication access control list. This video shows you how to create a VLAN interface. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the Controller tab. In the left navigation pane, click Interfaces. In the Interfaces page, click New in the upper right corner. In the Interfaces New page, enter values in the interface name and VLAN ID fields. Click Apply. In the Interfaces Edit page, configure the values for the VLAN interface, which includes an IP address for the VLAN interface, a net mask, a gateway address, the port number that the VLAN interface should map to depending on the connections of the device, and the address of the network's DHCP server. Retain the default values for all other parameters. Click Apply. This completes the creation of a VLAN interface. This video shows you how to configure Cisco WLC for external web authentication. However, you must first disable any configured WLANs with these steps. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the WLANs tab. In the WLANs window that is displayed, check all the WLAN checkboxes. Choose Disable Selected from the drop-down list in the top right corner. Click Go. You can now move on to configuring Cisco WLC for external web authentication. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the Security tab. In the left navigation pane, click Web Auth and then Web Login page. In the Web Login page window that is displayed, choose External from the Web Authentication Type drop-down list. In the Redirect URL after login field, enter the URL of the page to which the end user should be redirected after successful authentication. In the External Web Auth URL field that appears, enter the URL of the login page of the external web server. Click Apply. Click OK in the message dialog box. This completes the configuration of Cisco WLC for external web authentication. This video shows you how to add a WLAN instance. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the WLANs tab. In the WLANs window, choose Create New from the drop-down list on the top right corner. Click Go. In the WLANs New window that is displayed, choose WLAN from the Type drop-down list. In the Profile Name field, enter a name for the WLAN. In the SSID field, enter a WLAN SSID. Click Apply. In the WLANs Edit window that is displayed, enable the WLAN by checking the Status checkbox. From the Interface Group drop-down list, choose the VLAN interface that you created previously using the video demonstrating the creation of VLAN interface. Retain the default values for all other parameters in this page. Click the Security tab. Click the Layer 2 tab. Choose None from the Layer 2 Security drop-down list. Retain the default values for all the other parameters in this page. Click the Layer 3 tab. Choose Web Policy from the Layer 3 Security drop-down list.
click the Authentication Radio button. Click Apply, click Back. In the WLAN's window that is displayed, refer to the Security Policies column and ensure that the Web Auth is enabled for the WLAN. This completes the configuration of WLAN instance on Cisco WLC.
Let us now look at how to configure a database for authentication. There are 3 databases that you can use to authenticate users on Cisco WLC. Click the option of your choice.
This video shows you how to configure Cisco WLC for local database authentication. You can configure guest users on Cisco WLC who are in turn added to the local database of Cisco WLC. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the Security tab. In the left navigation pane, click Local Net Users. In the Local Net Users window, click New in the top right corner. In the Local Net Users new window that is displayed, enter values in the username and password fields. From the WLAN profile drop-down list, choose the WLAN profile configured earlier. In the description field, add a text describing this user. Click Apply. Repeat these steps to add multiple users to the database. This completes the configuration of a local database with 1 or more guest users on Cisco WLC.
This video shows you how to configure Cisco WLC to authenticate users from a Radius database. Step 1. Configure the Radius server information on Cisco WLC. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the Security tab. In the left navigation pane, click Radius and then Authentication to display a list of configured Radius servers. In the Radius Authentication Servers window that is displayed, click New at the top right corner. In the Radius Authentication Servers new window, enter the Radius server IP address. In the Shared Secret field, enter the secret key configured on the Radius server for the Cisco WLC. Retain the port number at the default value. Choose Enabled from the Server Status drop-down list. Select the Enable checkbox for the Network User field. Retain the default values for all the other parameters. Click Apply. Step 2. Configure the WLAN with the Radius server. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the WLANs tab to display the list of configured WLANs. In the WLANs window, click the WLAN ID of the WLAN you configured earlier. In the WLANs edit window that is displayed, click the Security tab and then the AAA Servers tab. In the Radius Servers area, choose the configured Radius server from the Authentic Servers drop-down list. Retain the default values for all the other parameters. Click Apply. Cisco WLC is now configured to authenticate users from a Radius database. This video shows you how to configure Cisco WLC to authenticate users from an LDAP database. Step 1. Configure the LDAP server information on Cisco WLC. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the Security tab. In the left navigation pane, click LDAP to open the list of configured LDAP servers. In the LDAP servers window that is displayed, click New in the top right corner. In the LDAP servers new window, choose a priority from the server index drop-down list. This specifies the priority for the LDAP server in relation to other configured LDAP servers, if any. You can configure up to 17 servers. If Cisco WLC cannot reach the first server, it tries the second one from the list, and so on. In the server IP address field, enter the IP address of the LDAP server. In the port number field, enter the LDAP server's TCP port number. The default value is 389. Choose Enabled from the Enable Server Status drop-down list. From the Simple Bind drop-down list, choose Anonymous or Authenticated to specify the local authentication bind method for the LDAP server. The Anonymous option allows anonymous access to the LDAP server. The Authenticated option requires a username and password for secure access. The default value is anonymous. If you choose Authenticated, the bind username and bind password fields are displayed. Enter values in these fields for local authentication to the LDAP server. In this example, we have chosen Anonymous. In the user base DN field, enter the distinguished name of the subtree of the LDAP server that contains a list of all users. In the user attribute field, enter the name of the attribute in the user record that contains the username. You can obtain this attribute from your directory server. In the user object type field, enter the value of the LDAP object type attribute that identifies the record as a user record. Often, user records have several values for the object type attribute, some of which are unique to a user and some of which are shared with other object types. In the server timeout field, enter the number of seconds between retransmissions. Choose the security mode from the Secure Mode drop-down list. Click Apply. Step 2. Configure WLAN with the LDAP server. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the WLANs tab. In the WLANs window, click the WLAN ID of the WLAN you configured earlier. In the WLANs Edit window, click the Security tab. Click the AAA Servers tab. In the Radius Servers area, uncheck the enabled checkboxes under Authentication Servers and Accounting Servers. In the Authentication Priority Order for WebAuth User area, in the Order Used for Authentication list, click LDAP and then the Up button to move LDAP above Radius. LDAP Server Authentication will now have a higher priority over Radius Server Authentication. Click Apply. Cisco WLC is now configured to authenticate users from an LDAP database. This video shows you how to configure WLAN client for web authentication. Log into a client machine that is in proximity to an access point configured for Cisco WLC. From the Windows Start menu, choose Control Panel, Network and Internet, View Network Status and Tasks. In the Network and Sharing Center window that is displayed, click Manage Wireless Networks in the left navigation pane. In the Manage Wireless Networks window, click Add. Click Manually Create a Network Profile. In the Network Name field, enter the WLAN SSID name. From the Security Type drop-down list, choose No Authentication or Open. Click Next. Click Close. This video shows you how to connect a WLAN client to a network configured on Cisco WLC. Log into a client machine that is in proximity to an access point configured for Cisco WLC. Connect to the network configured using Cisco WLC. Open a browser window and access the Internet. You will be directed to the Web Authentication page. In the login window that is displayed, enter the username and password of a user configured on Cisco WLC Authentication database. If your login is successful, you will see two browser windows. The larger window indicates successful login. You can use this window to browse the Internet. Use the smaller window to log out at the end of the session. Let us now see how to monitor your WLAN clients on Cisco WLC. In the Cisco WLC Web UI top menu, click the Monitor tab. In the left navigation pane, click Clients. In the Clients window that is displayed, you can see the clients and details such as the IP address assigned to each client by the DHCP. Click the client MAC address of your choice to monitor the details of a specific client. For instance, the Policy Manager State field identifies the state of the client connection.